morning, good afternoon, and everybody around the world. I am here today to speak about many people ask me how to write a screenplay. I mean, it's not easy to just explain by a video, but I'll try my best to do so. Well, first of all, I need to have an idea. This is totally my way. This is how I do it. And it also depends on certain subjects. Usually, what I do is when I have an idea, it takes a while for me to develop that idea. Means it just comes into my mind, it stays in there for a while, it just keep on growing and growing and growing, and it goes on for a while. It could be sometimes 2-3 months or up to a couple of years. Once I feel like I want to write it, I mean, this is totally independently when you write it. Once I feel like writing it, I start to write the characters. I elaborate on characters. I take my characters that I depend on, or rather that comes to my mind that I think they are very cool, they're very unique, they have something to offer. Those characters, I start writing the character backgrounds. It could be 4-5 characters, whatever it is, but those characters sort of makes a story together. Because, for example, if I take, when I wrote Rumasala was, the main character was someone called Sampath, performed by Dasun Patirana, and Sampath apparently is a kid who grew up in Polonnaruwa and who had seen UFO craft landing, whether he was not too sure whether it was UFO or whatever it is, and now he's a journalist 20 years later. And a bunch of university students are after this guy to support their research on unexplained things and King Ravana's things and whatever, all these things. And these characters, I start writing them, their background. So automatically I start getting a story into that, because it's very difficult to write stories, and good writers are very hard to come by, and good stories are very hard to come by. So I always write my characters, and a character has a story, character has its image, character has a color, character is something very important to me. And so when about 5 characters, say Sampath's girlfriend, then there's a background to it. Sampath's girlfriend's friend, there's a background to it. All these things comes together, you have a mini story. So once you have this mini story, you start developing sort of a storyline that what you need to communicate. I mean, in my case, I was trying to communicate something that, an incident that was everybody sort of reported on in newspapers somewhere around the mid-90s, that a UFO craft landed in Polonnaruwa in Sri Lanka, and one of the Sri Lankan NASA scientists, either he was retired or he also came down to Sri Lanka for a vacation or something. Then when he read about it, Dr. Cyril Ponnamperuma, he also went to the sites to do more research on this, whether it was true, not, or whatever. So this is where my main seed begins, and this will take to my childhood as a child growing up in the early 70s, who was always constantly told whether it's between mythology and reality, unexplained things, different spirits, different people from other planets, sort of unseen energies, all these things. And with that, I start to build up my story. And it was pretty easy when it came to that point. You just need to find the focus, and then you start building up your characters, building up your story. Once you have the story together, you just start writing your scenes, rough scenes. And sometimes I do write those scenes like in a very, very couple of lines or 2-3 sentences, and put them in cards. And then I sometimes put those cards on a wall or on the floor, and then try to move around and see how it works. So first of all, it becomes one of my experience into a movie or a TV series or whatever it is you call it. So that's where how I start to develop. And those developments, then if I need to have a co-writer, I talk to them about the story and we go on writing about it, or I just keep on writing. If I do it by myself, it takes sometimes longer time, other than I have been commissioned to do that, then I do it faster. And that's because many people been asking me how I write, how I start, how I get into a project. This is what it is. Sometimes these ideas, few years old. I think Rumasala is from 2004 or 2006, somewhere around that it developed. And then finally, when we did it for iFlix, it was somewhere in, we started shooting in 2017 and started streaming sometime 2019. So that's how sometimes certain things take longer, certain things are faster. And web series that I did, and now I'm planning to do that into a movie, bringing certain things together. Certain characters will be there because it's not like web series was half an hour each, so 10 episodes, that would be like 300 minutes or whatever, and a film has to be much less than that. So then you have to take only the most important factors, and might have to change the storyline a little bit and get it adapted, and certain things that you have to do that would suit for a movie, because it's in Sri Lanka, maybe a movie is hour and a half or 2 hours maximum. So keep that in the mind, and then you have to start doing that. So that's what I'm planning to do. So thank you for listening, and I hope this would have helped you for whatever the thing that you want to do. Ciao.